If you could go
Sorry, I
back
was
in
talking
time
to
and you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, who would you rather vote for?
Trump.
Okay, why so?
Mostly because I see him as like anti-communist, right? Because he's always talking about China and how they're a threat. Yeah, there's some mixed like signals because he'll do things that kind of contradict that at times, but I think that's actually appropriate and like a good sign that he's willing to like work with them while also condemn, their tactics. So I think that's pretty reasonable. And
Can
he's
you,
like,
sorry,
sorry, what?
can you define communism?
It's like where the government owns like the businesses and the means of production.
No, communism is not when the government owns businesses and the means of production, because communism is a stateless, classless, and moneyless society in which there's public ownership of the means of production. But it's definitely not when the
Yeah, the
government
government is
owns.
the one who owns it, like because it's not just the
No, no, no.
community, right?
You're
So in
not thinking.
most cases, like China,
Hold
the,
up,
the
hold up,
government actually would own it,
hold up. So
but it
the
could be that way.
no, no, no. So again, that's not what communism is. I'm not a communist, but I'm just telling you what communism is, right? You're talking about historically what communists in positions of power have done, which they admit themselves is not communism. Like China is not
I
communist
said
in
it's
terms
both
of
actually.
economy, right? Ideologically, there are communists in the government, but there is
They're
definitely
both.
not. But there's definitely not communism in terms of their governmental structure and economic structure.
I think it's a mix, so it's more palatable.
What do you
Would
mean?
you disagree?
Well, I'm confused. What did you say?
I'm saying it's like a mix of communism and capitalism, so it's
Well,
more
then you would also
palatable.
say that Donald Trump is as well. So he's not anti-communist under your own perspective because he believes that we should own 10% of Intel, right? That's directly the government owning the means of production to a certain extent.
I wouldn't disagree, but it's not full government control, right? I think that's a very important
You could say
distinction.
the same thing with China. China doesn't have 100% full government control. There are still markets that
Yeah,
exist.
yeah, because they're not fully communist. That was we've already
So
established.
okay, so then Trump's partially communist.
I mean, he might have some tendencies to do that,
So you agree,
but
at least under your
inherently,
own perspective, that Donald Trump is partially
well,
communist.
based off of what you just said, with the I didn't know,
So maybe when he was
that's what
talking
he
about the
advocated
enemy
for.
within,
So
maybe he was talking about his communism from within himself.
that's funny. But I don't know. I do think that it is valuable to want to have that information as like a part of the government, but not directly owning it. That's completely different. So it's not really fair what you're saying, but it is something to point out. It's a fair critique.
Okay, so then like let's go right here. How about this? Could you name a policy of Donald Trump's that he influenced to get passed that you like?
Um, that I like
Yeah,
name the name of the policy or just like what happened
what
because
it
of it, because I
generally
don't know
did
any.
is fine.
I mean, I like the border security. I feel like that's been a huge improvement. And
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure how I feel about what he's doing with the tech stuff that you brought up, but I like also for intelligence, I think that is very valuable, but it is risky what he's doing with Palantir. So it's like risk versus reward. I don't know yet.
Wait, you like what he's
I
doing
don't
with
know.
Palantir?
No, I like the idea of it, but it is like I just said, it's risky because allowing a private corporation
What do you
access
want? Watch
to
Dogs?
that data.
Have you played Watch Dogs
No, I
before?
don't. I don't. No, exactly. Yeah. No,
Bro
I
wants
know of the game. I
CTOS.
haven't played it.
Bro
No, no,
wants
no. I
CTOS
don't.
to
I
be real.
don't. I don't. I don't genuinely. But the thing is, it's like it's so hard to do that, because it is like the whole security state, like or mass surveillance, like however you want to put it, like. But at the same time, how at what point would it become like negligible to not use any form of sophisticated technology to be able to try to like at least compile information around like it could be anything from intelligence
So
operations to
we should
just like
use that against
studies.
Trump, right? That wouldn't be a violation of his privacy rights, correct? So we should use this
Wait,
type of
wait.
surveillance against Trump, right? Sure,
Well,
I'll
what
push the galaxy.
surveillance?
Well,
Well, because
you're
I
advocating
thought
for mass
Palantir was just
surveillance, so
compiling. Well, that's like public information. That's what
But
it's compiling. It's not necessarily like prying into anybody's like private emails or text messages, right? That's not
it,
what that is.
yeah, it's a mechanism in a database for mass surveillance, though, right? And
Yes,
for
of
making that
public
information
information.
public.
You
I
should
think
definitely,
I think
yeah.
privacy is
No,
really
no, no,
important.
it's already public information.
If anything, I think that this should be private to a greater extent. I don't think that like businesses
I
should just be able
agree
to
with
post
you.
your internet. I mean, stuff about yourself on the internet. I think that's crazy. Like genuinely, like the fact that you can literally look people up on the internet like that is nuts, and that should not
Yeah,
exist. That's a privacy concern.
I agree with you. Yeah, that's not cool, but what is the solution to that? Because it could be even worse. Like the fear of that could drive us into a deeper security, state or however you want to say it. I don't know what the terminology is. Is that the correct way to use that?
What you think that like we'll have more safety and security within our population? Is that what you're arguing?
That's subjective, but I'm saying it's about them having access to that information that they could use to, I don't know, whatever to their whims, right? So it's like, uh,
I don't think I
how do
think
you
Palantir
describe it?
goes beyond that. But yeah, I think we're getting a little bit off. Let me go back onto the border security aspect, right? Could you name like a specific aspect of policy relating to border security that you would like that Donald Trump, all right, would implement, right, in terms of like how he's. I know you said you couldn't name the specific names of the policies. I'm asking like in general,
Um, like
or like
tactics.
what do you agree with him? Yeah, like what tactics do you agree with him on?
I mean, getting rid of the CBP One app or changing it, whatever he did with that was beneficial because the way that people could, at the tap of a button, sort of expedite their asylum process, I don't think that's fair at all to people who put in hard work over years to come here in a
The
legal
CBP
way that
One
I do
app
believe.
was made
Okay.
under Trump originally, right? It was expanded
Yeah, but
under
it was
Biden.
changed. Yes, exactly. That's my point exactly. I like that he reverted the change that Biden made to it because of
Why?
what I just laid out.
Doesn't it just reduce
Because of,
people's access to legal immigration?
yes, and it does it because yes, and I want to tell you why. Yes, Parker, the answer is yes. And because
That's
the
not a
way
good
that they
thing.
were granted that legal status, yes, it is because they were expedited in an unfair way.
That is totally fair. I'm
It's
confused what's
at the
unfair
click of
about
a
that.
button. No, no, it's not. Yeah, that's subjective as well, and I guess I could use better language,
Do
but
you want to increase
it's
access to
not
legal immigration?
historically. No,
No, you don't.
I like specifically what he did around this app
So
because what
you like it
Biden
taking a
changed
long
with it.
time to get into our country. You
Are you
like
trying
it.
to steamroll me?
No, I'm just trying to clarify your position, man.
Yeah. So I tried to say it like three times. So the way that you could, at the click of a button, apply for asylum and then come in here and have a court date for the future, you would be considered legal, even though there wasn't as much of a vetting process. Because if you're
Wait,
seeking
what's different about
asylum,
the
it's
vetting
of
process?
urgent circumstances, right?
Wait,
There
what's
isn't
different about the
any.
vetting process?
There isn't any
Okay, if
in
there's
the
no
same
difference in the vetting
capacity.
process, then why were you arguing that there's less vetting under this process? Or it's unfair because of that?
No, 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 no. I'm saying that they're not getting the same level of what's it called? Um, like they're expediting that process, right? So people could just come here based off of a claim that hasn't been investigated. And then their court date is for the future. So it's not necessarily about why, like if it's valid or not. It's that we haven't even checked if their claim is valid and they get to come here and now they have legal status, even though it hasn't
This is
truly
true
been deemed so.
regardless of whether or not the app is in place. Okay. So what you like is the
Yeah, yeah,
remain
I'm
in
saying it
Mexico
made
border
it
policy.
the
What
easiest way possible to get a false legal status.
No, because it is the case that if we're talking about asylum, right? Many people who are going through the legal process go under that process. You can talk about like what are ways we could disincentivize people to come through the process if they don't actually legitimately have a valid asylum claim. Well, the way we could do that is by making the legal process go significantly quicker for asylum.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, it's not by doing the remain in Mexico policy because that will create circumstances where people who are seeking asylum from Mexico, right, specifically would have to stay in the country they're seeking asylum from, right, in order to be able to seek asylum, which defeats the entire process of the asylum process.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, but here's why I think it would be beneficial to do that policy because of the abuse. We don't need. any more flooding of people. There's a lot of problems that he is trying to fix, right?
What do
So
you
if
mean
you want to
flooding of
reverse
people?
that, the estimated 20 million people that came in off of Biden's
It
policies.
wasn't 20 million. There's no estimate
I
for
said
that
it
you
was
could cite
estimated.
to me.
Yes, it was.
Who made that estimation?
Oh man. Do I have to go look for a source, bro? Because it's
No,
at
I just
minimum
genuinely like
12 million.
no,
Yes,
no,
I
it
know.
was
I
even
said
lower than that. I think it was around
n-
8 million.
no, it's not. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, it's estimated, and there's tons of
Yeah.
gotaways that they've admitted to, and you can't count those. So if you want to go with the lowest
I don't even
number
think you know what that means.
that is projected,
Now we can
I
talk
don't know
about
what
specifically the
gotaways
numbers.
are. Okay, whatever.
The immigration specifically spike that happened under the Biden Harris administration was actually good. It's going to lead to an $8.9 trillion increase in the GDP size by 2034, according to the Congressional Budget Office, which is incredibly important for us to respond to our lack of ability to pay for Social Security and Medicare because we'll have increasing tax revenues because our population is getting older because a greater portion of our population is on Social Security and Medicare, and because we have a lower fertility rate for the past like 50 years or so. Therefore, meaning that we have significantly less younger people to pay for the older people that are on these systems, right? Reducing our ability to keep the same benefits, especially given the fact that people are staying on these systems for longer with increasing life expectancy, which is all a good thing. But
We
we want
should
to be able
we
to
should
fund these
immigrant.
programs.
We should we should immigrant. We should allow more immigrants in the country because of our fertility rate. Like, we don't have kids, right? So we just need to we need more people. So that's why we need
Yeah,
migrants.
we do actually. Los V, thank you for the glowing jellyfish and the fireworks. Why are you laughing at that?
Uh,
We actually do. I just gave you an argument for that. Would you like to respond to the argument?
no, I knew okay, that's funny. I was being sarcastic. I know that's the point you were making. That's why I was saying it back to you sarcastically, because I
Yeah, but
think
like
that's
that's not an
ridiculous.
argument against
I
it. So
think that's not a
provide an
good
argument.
solution. I would love
Then
to. I was
why?
just making fun of you for a second. But
Okay.
I think that we should incentivize people having families instead of trying to import people who do not want to assimilate in American culture. And I know that a lot of people want to paint that as a they want to paint that as a white supremacist talking point, saying it's the great replacement theory and like, oh, white people are being replaced. But
Assimilate to
like
what?
Tucker Carlson said it best, American values.
Wait.
It's
Do you
about
believe it? Do you believe
replacing
in the Great Replacement theory?
Americans. No, I think it's a
Okay.
great point that Americans are being replaced though
What do you
by
mean a great
importing like
point?
as sorry, what are you referring to?
Did you just say it was a great point?
I said Tucker
What was the
made
great
a
point?
great point. He said that American culture is being replaced by immigrants who do not want to assimilate into American culture.
This is
And
insane
I think
because
that's very true.
because immigration is a fundamental aspect of American culture. Okay, American
That's an
culture
interesting
is
point, but
constantly changing. This idea that
hold on.
American culture must be unchanging is
No, it's about our
antithetical to
values.
American culture. It
No.
is.
Please, this is being disingenuous because you're
The
assuming
American dream
why
means
I'm
constantly
saying that.
changing.
No, that's not, I'm not
It does.
disagreeing with that. You're assuming, this is what I mean. This is the problem here. You're assuming why I'm saying that. And I'm not saying that because I oppose what you just said. What you just said is true. Okay, but when people come here and they do not support our Constitution, if they want Sharia law, or that's just one, harsh example that's very prominent and is definitely like, I would say, could seriously be a threat because a lot of those people who make asylum claims, I've seen them like they go like they some of these people have done interviews and they describe how they lie on their visa applications to be more palatable for the West. And like he literally says, bold face, this guy, it's just a video, it's anecdotal, obviously, but I could never imagine someone saying this. Anyway, he says that they asked him some sort of question about like, denouncing some sort of hate group or something in his application, and he just didn't give him an answer, and they let him, still get his claim through anyway. And I just, it's obviously anecdotal, but like that's what this sort of thing breeds when people don't want to assimilate into American culture. I and we don't got to talk about jihad or anything, but there's a lot of people who, that's a like reasonable
Can I respond to this?
response. Yes.
Yeah, so the main issue in America is not people coming who believe in Islam, right? It's not
I
it's
didn't
not
say that.
Muslims, right? It's not people specifically
Don't do that.
who are coming from
I didn't say
areas
it's a
around the
main
entire world,
issue,
oftentimes
buddy.
can I please finish? Oftentimes fleeing Sharia law. That's the reason why oftentimes people are coming here who are Muslim is they're fleeing Sharia law. Now, secondly, you
We're
say that
talking
they
about.
Can I please
Great
finish without you cutting me
replacement.
off? Can I please finish without you cutting me off? Is that possible? Are you able to be an
You're
adult and
you're
to
just
not?
going somewhere else. Yeah.
I'm addressing everything you said. Let me do it, please.
Okay. All right.
Okay? Can you act like an adult?
Yes, of
Thank you very
course, man.
much. Thank you very much. So you specifically said like the issue was them pushing the religion on us and not supporting our constitution. Huh, that sounds exactly what MAGA is doing. They're pushing Christianity on us, Christian nationalism, and then literally not supporting our constitution. Donald Trump called for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the constitution. Literally has violated our First Amendment rights, our Second Amendment rights, our Fourth Amendment rights, our Fifth Amendment rights, and our 14th Amendment rights in our country. And it is the case that he called for a complete and total shutdown of Muslims entering the country, which is actually a violation of the First Amendment. Right? So we can literally point to exactly how Donald Trump doesn't support our Constitution and is enforcing his religious views onto us in broader society. And I think that's actually the main issue that our culture has, not specifically people who are coming, oftentimes fleeing Sharia law.